Hi, my name is Jess and I run the book review blog Read Book Repeat. Today I wanted to come on and talk a bit about Scorn of Secrets by B. Truly. This is book one in her My Darkest Secret series, a young adult contemporary story that has sprinklings of romance, big obstacles to overcome. I put it as like a coming of age story. Basically, the story centers around Madison. Her life is turned upside down when her father, who has bad gambling debt, ends up dying. This happens in the beginning of the book, so no spoilers. And basically, she's trying to come to terms with the fact that her father is dead. And before she knows it, her mother is seeing another man, she's moving on, and Madison can't really understand why or how this is happening so fast because her world is still shattered. Before she knows it, her mother is packing her and her sister Tanya up. She's moving them across the state to live with the new boyfriend and his twin sons, Justin and Jackson. So Madison is then trying to deal with the fact that she's lost her dad in horrific circumstances. Her mother has moved on too quick in her eyes. She's now got to deal with trying to assimilate into this new family dynamic, learn to like her new family, and to try and navigate high school at a new place. Her sister Tanya has never really had trouble making friends, but for Madison it was always a bit different. Like, she's not like Tanya, and so she finds it a little bit hard. The stepbrothers, Justin and Jackson, while they are twins, their personalities are like night and day. And Madison soon finds herself becoming drawn to Justin and his sunshiny personality. And a friendship begins to blossom, and, things are good, life is good. She's starting to make a couple of friends, she's getting used to her life again, and things are going good. I found the first half of the book to be very slice of life, and I'll admit at first I wasn't sure I was going to be able to make it through it, and I kept going back to to Goodreads, and I'm reading all these reviews, and I'm thinking, am I reading the same book? Like, I'm just not getting it. And then halfway through the book is when the bombshell drops, and look, I'll admit, I already had a pretty strong feeling what was going to happen, and who it was with as well, because there was like this setup happening in the first half of the book. But man, when it happened, like, I had no idea how it was going to happen, and I definitely had no idea what was going to happen afterwards. So once I hit that 50% point of the book, man, I was hooked. Like, it was a page turner. I couldn't put it down, and it was just wow. I will put some trigger warnings for this book. There is sexual assault, there is sexual coercion, and it just, like, the way that Truly wrote Madison's experience with what happened to her afterwards was so raw and so real, and it really had me wondering. I felt like Truly was writing from experience because it was that believable. The fact that Madison felt so alone, so isolated, like she couldn't tell anyone because who's going to believe her? Even her own sister wouldn't believe her. And I feel like Truly did such a wonderful job of setting up this sense of alone that Madison was experiencing. And oh man, it was just, I was fully in it by that point. I was just so engaged, and I was just really rooting for Madison because she's such a strong character. I just really wanted her to get justice for what happened to her, and the strength that is shown in her character with the way that she handles things afterwards once she starts to process what's happened. It was amazing. I didn't really like the characters of Maddie's mum or her sister, and I did have a big soft spot for the future stepfather. He, especially with what happened in the end of the book, he really endeared himself to me with the way that he handled things. And I just, and Gigi, her grandmother, I mean, this is the grandmother that you wish you had. This woman is magic, pure magic. And she was there. She was the rock for Maddie when Maddie needed it. And I became so in love with these characters. Honestly, I did. I highly recommend this series, this book, the 2 books out so far. Yeah, and I do remember thinking that I found some of the dialogue between the characters to be a bit juvenile. And then after I read the afterword from Truly, and she actually wrote this story like 27 years ago. 27 years. And it still holds up today as like a modern coming of age story following a strong, like a girl on the cusp of womanhood who's dealing with this horrific thing that has happened to her. And it's honestly a beautiful story. So yeah, I highly recommend it. Check out Be Truly. Anywhere that good books are sold, My Darkest Secret series. I highly recommend it, guys. Thanks for joining me. Bye. Hi, my name is Jess and I run the book review blog Read Book Repeat. Today I wanted to come on and have a bit of a chat about Thorn of Secrets by Be Truly, which is book number 2 in her My Darkest Secret series. So stick around and let's get into it. So if you haven't read book 1, I would probably suggest stopping this review, as I'm not planning on spoiling anything, but accidents happen. So stop the review, go read book 1, read book 2, then maybe come back and we can chat. So, Thorn of Secrets, book 2. I actually nearly really put myself in a bind with this one. I got a promotional email from Goddess Fish Promotions and saw that this was as one of the books that they wanted reviewers for the tour. So I'd read book 1 and I ended up really enjoying it. Book 1, it follows Maddie, her mother, after an accident with her father. Her mother ends up finding a new boyfriend, and they all decide to uproot and they move to Houston to move in with this new boyfriend and his twin sons, Justin and Jackson. And so Maddie and her sister Tanya move there. Things are fine, and she's thinking it's not as bad as what she was anticipating it to be. And initially, like the first half of book 1, the pacing was a little bit slow, and like I knew something was going to happen and I had a feeling of what it was, but it was, yeah. When it did happen, the pacing picked right up. This book 1 ended up being a 4-star read for me. So basically, Madison goes through an incident that's quite harrowing and traumatizing. And then she moves back to Baton Rouge with her grandmother while she's trying to deal with this thing that happened to her. So book two pretty much picks up straight where book 1 left off, and I read this book in probably just over 24 hours. I didn't leave myself a lot of time when I requested it, but I was so desperate to see how the story continued, and I was not disappointed. So book 2 picks up virtually where book 1 lets off, where with Madison, she's still with her grandmother in Baton Rouge. She has her baby, who I think she's a couple of months old at the start of the book. And she's essentially trying to get back to her life. She's trying to learn how to navigate life after what had happened to her. She's trying to learn how to heal from the experience that she had. She's going back to school with her cousin. She's going to finish out her senior year at her original high school. So it's essentially life as normal. She's trying to make it life as normal. So basically, this story really focuses on the healing side of things that come with incidents that happened to people like Maddie. I don't want to go into too much detail because I do not want to give anything away. And I feel like it was really handled well, like her having to learn to trust, her having to learn how to navigate intimacy with somebody else, And I feel like it was handled really, really well. It was written very honestly, very raw, and I really enjoyed that about this story. I love that we learnt more about Daryl, Maddie's cousin, and there's definitely going to be, I feel like, more stories in the world that follow maybe her and her family, because there's some secrets there. Secrets from her mum, like her mum's past as well. I just really enjoyed getting a bit more of a look into the secondary support character worlds as well. Still though, there is the love between Maddie and Justin, and that's also explored. Like, how can she ever, well, can she be happy with Justin after what has happened to her? And that was really like the selling point for me. Like, I really wanted to see if she was going to be able to do this, how she was going to handle it. All in all, like, this is it's just really, it's a really page turning story for me. I've become really endeared to these characters in this world, and Maddie's like fight. She is written as such a strong character, and I love that. I love that she's fighting. She's not just laying down and taking what is happening to her. She fights back with every part of her being, and I love that. And I love that she's not perfect. I love flawed characters. Everyone has flaws. And I love that about these characters. Be Truly has really written some real characters. It feels like I am listening to someone tell me about them instead of just reading about this imaginary person on a page. And I think that's also super important in books. And I'm so keen for book 3. If you have not read this series, please pick it up. If you're struggling with pacing in the beginning of book 1, stick with it, because it does turn out to be a really rewarding story. So yeah, follow me at my blog, readbookrepeat.wordpress.com. Had a blank then. Follow me on Instagram, readbookrepeat, Facebook, same deal. And be sure to follow Be Truly. Check out her books. They're a great ride. I really enjoy them. Yeah. So thanks for joining me, guys. Catch you next time.